This is a narrated video slideshow of my tour of the Lake District in England, following the route described in this book. I flew into Manchester and took a train to Windermere via Oxenholme. In Windermere, I stayed at an excellent B&B, the Coppice. I took a rest day to acclimate to jet lag and took a boat tour of Lake Windermere, passing sailboats and beautiful estates. I never saw so many people in rain pants. After the boat ride, I had a pint at the Hole in Wall pub. My usual breakfast every day was cereal, orange juice, and coffee, followed by poached egg and sausage or bacon. The first day was a short 6.5-mile walk from Windermere to Ambleside. I walked through town and up the hill to Orist Head, following first a road and then some paths, and enjoyed the panoramic, beautiful scenery. There are a number of people on this walk that I ran into and passed. I passed a number of farms and took photos of sheep for my shepherd wife, Claudia. Passed a very interesting farm, and then saw a farmer gathering up the sheep using his border collie. I had a nice lunch at the post office in Troutbeck, and from there followed various tracks and roads, views back to Lake Windermere, and arrived in the late afternoon in Ambleside at my bed and breakfast. I had a Thai dinner that night along with black sheep ale. On this day, I walked 11.5 miles from Ambleside, first to Elderwater and then to Coniston, leaving Ambleside as a beautiful church and then a small stone circle. Then over a beautiful stone bridge and up the hill with views back to Ambleside. A very beautiful home. And then onto a rocky road which turned into a trail around Loch RIGG Tarn and then down a hill to a section of rental cottages to the Talbot Arms Hotel, where I join a beautiful wide walking path by the river that leads to Elderwater. Lots of people walking on this trail. From Elderwater, I headed up the hill through some fields and then had half a pint of bitter for lunch at the Three Shires Inn at Little Langsdale. From there, I went down over a stream, over a bridge, a path that went by slate quarries, and then I ran into sheep on the road. And then I run into sheep beside the road, beautiful sheep. A path beside the highway brought me into Coniston and the Orchard Cottage bed and breakfast. This was a tricky 11.5 mile walk from Coniston to Butte. Leaving Coniston, I again start up a hill, pass by some cows and onto the Walnut Star Road that connected the villages. The streams are full and switchbacks head up to the pass. Here I am looking back from whence I came, and then here is the view down into the Dutton Valley, where I pass through a farm and almost miss a faint trail that heads up to a little hill, then to a road across a bridge. This is a very boggy area. As you can see, the streams are really high and flowing. I took this faint path, but I lost this path, so I hooked up to a road that eventually put me back onto the official trail, which is now a cross-country path across a bog. When I reached a ford, I needed to take the trail. It was too dangerous to cross, so I hooked up with some hikers that had just come down from the mountain, and we went down to their car, and they gave me a ride back to the Boot Inn. This was an 11.5 mile walk from Boot to Wasdale Head. There was a short walk on the road past the train station, past the memorial, over the river, past some farms and fields, and then over a suspension bridge. And then it went up, up, up over the hill, past the red mushrooms, a memorial bench, up to the top where you can see the red-coated bikers coming up from the other side, and then down a steep and often boggy hill. Beautiful day. A beautiful big cairn. Then through a field, over another bridge, and then the 3-mile road walk to Wasdale Head. Gorgeous views and a beautiful day. It was exciting to be at the famous Wasdale Head Inn, which is a mecca for climbers. Had a very nice room. Made sure we were on time, and had dinner in the pub. This was a long 7 miles from Wasdale Head to Buttermere. I followed a path beside a stone wall, enjoying views back to Wasdale Head, then up the stone steps up to Black Sail Pass. The Black Sail Youth Hostel can be seen in the valley below. Down a steep trail, I looked to the right to see the climb up Loft Beck, well known to coast walkers. I pass by grass-covered mounds, over a bridge, and have lunch and conversation at the Black Sail Hostel. Then a short distance on the road and again up to Scarth Gap Pass, and then down to Buttermere Lake. Kudos to the rangers making stone steps to replace eroded sections of the trail. The path went down to a wide lakeside trail that took me into Buttermere and the Fish Hotel. In occasional rain, I start off with the 11.5 mile walk from Buttermere to Keswick. The trail goes up the hillsides with fantastic views the entire way. You can see the trail on the hillside there going from left to right and then across the shale area. And now I'm at the pass, a boggy area, and now I walk down through beautiful heather pastures, very beautiful, looking back up to the pass. I'm happy. Then I reach a road and follow streams and fields into Portinscale. And then a footpath into Keswick to my bed and breakfast, the Portland House. I take a rest day in Keswick to visit the famous Castle Rigg Stone Circle. Alexander Thom surveyed the stone circle and many more to reveal its solar and lunar alignments that are marked by stones and the distant hill features. It's a popular tourist stop, but the energy's high and it's a good place to meditate. I'm happy to be here. I love stone circles. I had great soup and punk IPA for lunch in Keswick. This was a level 10.25 mile walk from Keswick to STONETHWAITE, following a section of the Cumbria Way. I leave Keswick, backtracking the footpath to Portinscale, and join other walkers on the generally wide and easy trail. A group of young boys were sitting on the sand before I arrived. The trail passes over wetlands, by streams and rivers. A cave appears on the right. Can you see the walkers climbing up Castle Craig here? I meet a wonderful couple having lunch on the bridge and continue over the bridge into STONETHWAITE, Beck, and the Langstrath Country Inn, where we stayed walking the coast-to-coast trail several years ago. Dinner, pale ale, and even dessert for dinner. Most of the sheep on this walk are Herdwick sheep, the most hardy of Britain's breeds of hill sheep. This is an exciting 8.5 mile walk from STONETHWAITE to GRASMERE. Leaving the valley, the trail heads up the valley, past waterfalls and higher vistas, eventually reaching the hands and knees scramble up Lining Craig. It's steeper than it looks. The ridge line of Green Up Edge is fogging. We follow cairns until turning left down into the valley. Then I head down into Easdale Valley, feeling joyful here among waterfalls and sheep. I hear dogs barking and horns blaring. Up on the hillside, shepherds are gathering sheep to come down to the farm. I come into Grasmere and my B&B for the night. This is a wet and rainy 8 miles from Grasmere to Patterdale. I pass a flock of sheep with new red paint on their backs and head up the lane adding to Grisdale Tarn. I take the right trail around the Great Tongue and ran into a very difficult ford before the Tarn. Over the pass, the rain stops and I pass RUTHWAITE Lodge. I run into a group of young people who had the key to the lodge where they were going to stay overnight. The sun comes out and I pass a holiday cottage to let. A sheep skull, a mushroom, and finally reached the old Waterview bed and breakfast. I had dinner at the Patterdale Hotel. A real hopping place. A major storm with heavy rain and winds was forecast, so the last leg of the tour from Patterdale to Windermere was up high and lonely. Given the high streams, I wisely opted to take a mountain goat tour, which was very enjoyable. We traveled through the Langdale Valley, which is a favorite of rock climbers and walkers, and ascended the steep Wynose and Hard Knot passes. We had lunch in Boot, followed by a ride on the heritage Ravenglass and Exdale Railway. We stopped by WASDALE, a beauty spot once voted as commanding Britain's favorite view. It was really windy. Muncaster Castle in the gardens was a surprise. Inside that castle it was opulent and a wow at every turn. Outside, the landscaping was inspiring. I could have spent an entire day here exploring. Big old-growth trees, beautiful wetland gardens, a place just for insects. Returning to Windermere, I had one more night before taking the train to Manchester and flying home to Seattle. It was a great trip.